Hey everybody, welcome back to 3D6 Down the Line. We are continuing after a too long 2-week break for episode 34 of our Megadungeon crawl of the Halls of Arden Vul, by Richard Barton, using a heavily modified version of the old school Essentials system by Gavin Norman, otherwise known as Necrotic Gnome. I am your referee for the evening. My name is John. Going around the horn, we have...
Hi, I'm Mike. I play Gorand the Dwarf.
I'm David. I play Onweir, the Illusionist.
I'm Matt. I play the left hand of Lysion, Avaricios, 5th level cleric, and I think I'm about to become more important with some new information that we're going to be sharing.
It's probably true. And last but not least, we would normally have Ted playing Mortis J. Gobliano, but he is unfortunately dead to us tonight, so screw him. And we can
very good impression, John.
You like that?
That was pretty good.
Right? Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so episode 34. Sorry, it's been so long, everybody. We're going to pick up right where we left off. However, there is one major rules change that I have decided to adopt. I don't think anyone's going to be too angry because you know what it is. It's going to let everyone.
David is really into this rule.
David, stop it. Stop it.
I didn't do anything. I swear. What just happened?
Wow.
David,
I'm glad you brushed your teeth.
For those listening, David is huge on the screen.
There he is.
There we go.
Okay.
What? Do we have any idea what triggered that? Because I haven't touched the thing.
I have no idea, but we're leaving
Am I
it
just
in.
going to get like a smash cut every few minutes? Something dramatic happens. I'm going to pop into my face.
I think it's Ted. It's the curse of Ted.
Curse of Ted, yeah. Anyways, so there is one major rules change, but I don't think anyone's going to mind too much because it is going to allow all the audience out there to see a little quick sneak preview of the upcoming Dolmenwood campaign setting that's about to hit Kickstarter very, very soon. I'm going to be adopting the forthcoming optional rule for death that Gavin has devised specifically for the Dolmenwood campaign setting. It is based upon OSE, obviously, but instead of our death and dismemberment rules, which we used to use both in Dolmenwood and in Arden Vul, which was Arnold Kemp's from Goblin Punch, which are fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I like this a lot more because it's very, very quick. There's no need to roll on separate charts, and it is extremely deadly. But also gives them, it's not as cruel as Rules is written, which is just death at 0. So you guys can see it up there. This is off of the Other Combat Matters chapter of the upcoming Players book. I happen to have access to this because I was a Patreon for a long time. So frankly, I deserve it, really. It's the Death's Door rule there on the lower left-hand corner. So you don't die at 0 hit points. When you are reduced to 0 hit points, you fall unconscious, and you're going to basically die without either bandaging or magical aid. The rule as written here is only with magical aid. So each round, you have a 2 in 6 chance of straight up dying. That means that's a 33% chance every single round that when it comes up that you may die. So that's the really, really nasty part, because that is not a small chance. If you receive healing, magical healing of some sort.
David's big again. We're taking this seriously, John. I promise.
I think I might know what's happening, but it's a very weird trigger.
Okay,
I can discuss live. Moving my mouse from one monitor to the other seems to have triggered a push-in, but it doesn't happen again on the way to...
Okay. Give us one moment, folks.
Use dual monitors, apparently.
give us 1 second. We're going to fix this technical issue. Give us one moment. Okay, sorry about that. I think we fixed David's video issues, though they were pretty hilarious. But anyways, okay, I'm going to sum this up real quick. We're going to get through this, but it's important. So the Death's Door rule. So you hit 0, you're going to fall unconscious. You will die. If you cannot succeed at a 2 in 6, there's a 2 in 6 chance that you will die every single round. If you receive magical aid, that'll bring you back up to 1 hit point in conscious. However, the result of receiving the magical aid when you are mortally wounded like that is that you lose 1 point permanently from a random ability score. It's nasty.
Awesome.
That's super nasty. That's actually worse. I think I would rather just die.
I am Adding a mitigating factor as well, though. This was actually brought up by Mike, which I think I do think is good, which is bandaging, the ability to bandage. So if you do have bandages on you, and or can make them, you can apply the bandages, which will then leave the person unconscious, but they will no longer have to make the 2 and 6 roll. So they are stable, basically, but they are not conscious. However, you cannot bandage during combat. It takes 1 full turn to apply bandages correctly in order to save someone like that. All right, so it's still extremely deadly, not like 5e where you can just bandage someone and they're stabilized in the middle of combat. So this is sort of like you still have to get through combat making those 2 and 6 rolls. Pray that your cleric's still up that can still heal you, although maybe you don't want him to because you'll lose that ability score. And so basically, dropping below 0 is still super nasty. It's just very nasty in a different sort of way than the death and dismemberment rules. Yeah, Mike.
Can I take a feat to be able to bandage in combat?
No. How dare you? Okay, so where were we? All right, so it is.
David has a question.
Yeah.
Not a question. I was editorializing a bit. I do find it a bit suspicious that you are changing the death rules right before we try to escape this hellhole.
There wasn't a good time.
I don't know what's in your mind, but I know what it conveys to me, John.
Well, if any of you have been watching this show for any long period of time, there is literally at no point where an introduction to that rule would be welcome. Okay,
very true, very true.
So
that's all right. We got this. It's okay. We'll
now
forget.
this actually is a question though. Now we no longer have like the chance to be burned or the concussion or any of that. The only if you die, if you go to 0 and then you're brought back up, the only impact is the ability score loss, right?
That's correct, yeah. Although, I mean, you know, obviously, if there's circumstances warrant, like if you're dropped below 0 because you took an acid bath, yeah, there's going to be some acid problems afterwards, you know.
No,
I got bandaged. No,
he's back.
David's
he's back, baby.
It's not. I have no idea what's causing this, but I love it personally. So this could be a new feature.
Slide away from your desk, man. Slide away from your desk.
All right, we'll be right back. Okay, we're back again. Hopefully, we've got David stable now, but we'll see. Okay, so it's the 25th of Ligarios. It's close to about 9 a.m. in the morning. They are currently in Plungertown. They have just left the dead body of Isocritus back in the stacks of the Library of Thoth after Gerlad himself was worried about those weird creatures, those weird baboon cubs that were sort of stalking towards him. From those stacks, he sort of retreated and left Isocritus to his fate, although he does not know what Isocritus' fate is. But he obviously did not like being in that library. However, in the interim, as Gerlad was making his way back to his chambers, Onweir struck again. And Isocritus is dead on the ground. So, we have...
Goodbye, Isocritus.
Okay, at the same time, they had called for Cisco to gather up as many baboons as possible to go back to the magical laboratory and seal up that secret entrance because Gerlad and Isocritus had deduced correctly that the escaped prisoners had returned, most likely. And they also deduced, because there's not really too much to deduce, why they would have come back, which is for the spell books. So that's the situation right now. They have literally just exited. Things are very, very tense because they don't know precisely where Gerlad is. They know he's somewhere to the east. They know that Cisco is momentarily distracted far away to the northwest with some contingent of baboons. The strange hooded sort of undead baboons that were in the library seem to have fallen over dead and inanimate. And you don't know what to make of those strange baboon cubs that were sort of saying, no, need new. But you have run out of there. So I'm going to switch this over to Owlbear here. And
we are very happy to leave that mystery where it is right now.
Right. So you guys are right here. Now, you could hear noise. Let's just go over the state of things right now quickly. So Gornd, Avaricios, and Onweir, the 3 that we have here, are actually the 3 that are currently invisible. Okay, in all different levels of like the length of that. Okay, so right now I know for a fact that Onweir's invisibility, this is his last, that is brought to him by Laryl's cloak, will last for 2 more turns. Okay, Goran's is a potion, so we don't know when Goran's will end. Avaricios is using the ring, and he'll be invisible until basically, right? You either Yost,
Right.
yeah, ends it, or you attack.
Yeah.
And there is currently a silence spell as well. Right.
That is on Gorand.
That is on Gorn. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so that has a bunch of turns left on it. So you're all very, very quiet. All of this happened in complete silence, basically, except for the quick, from Isocritus. And you're all invisible as well. Okay. The retainers are way back in the entrance to the pyramid room, which is what you're trying to go back to, is what I understand. You're going to attempt to retreat. You have stuffed Laryl's sack with a shitload of valuable books, Tresti's spell book, Onweir's missing spell book, Isocritus' spell book, right? And I did make a mistake. It's actually a misprint in the book. You don't have 14 valuable books. You have 13 valuable books. So if there is a slot thing going on there, you should probably reduce it by 1.
Cool.
And I have that Onweir is carrying Laryl's sack now in 2 hands, which is what's required for the sack. And Gorand and Avaricios are actually hauling in between them the large mirrored, convex mirror device, right? So as you guys are all leaving, right, you're basically like, what do you call it? Like Onweir's just like with the sack, and then Gorand and Avaricios are sort of like, dragging this big mirror behind them as well. Yeah, David.
Quick question. When we looted Isocritus, I don't believe his clothes were mentioned as an object within that list, unless I'm recalling correctly. I mean, presumably he has robes, yes?
Yeah.
I do remember you saying you were taking his clothes, because
I was going to put his robes on real quick. I was just going to throw it over my body real quick, just in case, as a last minute contingency. Is that something I can do without it taking a full turn?
Not a full turn. I don't think you would be able to. They're so elaborate, right? There's so many pieces and parts of it that you could certainly just throw on the main body piece, the main garment itself. Yeah. But it's not going to look all fully arranged and looking nice. But at a quick glance,
I just want a silhouette from 100 yards that if I, for some reason, pop visible, I don't immediately, that's my thought. So if it was possible for me to just like a bathrobe, throw that on really quick before grabbing the sack and going, I would have.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I had one more question, John, just because we have all this invisibility going on. Mm-hmm. We're carrying stuff, right? And for the disco ball, for example, 2 invisible people are carrying that. Is it visible in between us, or because it's being carried, is it enveloped in the magic of our spells? It's a little weird.
It's a personal possession on you right now, so it's invisible. Everything's invisible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, awesome. That's good.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what's happening right now. So you're loaded for bear. I'm not saying you're moving really slowly, but you have to move carefully because you've got all this stuff on you. But you're invisible and you're quiet. Right. So what do you do?
I would very much. I'm sorry. I'm worried that I don't know how long my invisibility lasts. So can we just keep that in mind?
I mean, we don't have anything else in mind but to get the hell out of here the way that we came in. Okay. I think the only thing that we need to do is put you in front, because you can see and we can't. So we got to do a little chain with you in front, me on the other side of the disco ball, and you kind of leaning up against my back, I guess.
Well, and I guess the cool thing about having the disco ball between us is if I stop, you'll feel it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So Goran will lead the way using dark vision while the rest of you are following blindly. I am going to say that because even with Goran's navigation, that you guys cannot. You would trip over anything basically that would be in your way. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. But you're silent, so that's a good thing. Okay, so what is your movement normally like, as if you weren't loaded down with the ball?
I think we were all at 90.
120. No, I thought we were at 120 because we stripped down in the pyramid room.
They kept I'm pretty sure.
I was at 90.
90, John.
Then I'm probably at 92 because I wouldn't have dropped my weapons and
It's okay. I just need to know the slowest. So if the slowest is 90, I'm going to say that when you've got the ball in between you, that you're down to 60. Okay. So and you're also blind too, so you have to move a little bit slower. Now, are you going to be backtracking the exact same way, like along that northwestern part of the diamond, right?
So when I get to that intersection, John, I'm going to look, and if I don't see any heat signatures in that hallway, yes, that's the way we're going to go.
Okay, so you move north that 50 feet north down that passageway. You can hear from like directionless, basically, you can hear the hooting and howling of baboons off in the distance. Okay, away beyond you. What is that, approximately 50, 60, 70 feet? You can see that cone, the beam of light that's coming straight down in the middle beyond, okay? And you can see that there are, you can see shadowy figures scampering across that light every once in a while, like going backwards and forwards.
Cool. Matt was very generous to remind us that he had an alarm set where the retainers were.
Right, on the door.
If there's any interaction, I just wanted to throw it out there again for John's sake and everyone else's. If any interaction happens with the retainers, we would be alerted prior. Yeah. Correct,
Okay.
Matt? Is that right?
Yeah. It's the alarm spell. I can cast it through Shrieker, the sling, and the way that it works, you can set it to either do an audible alarm that is loud, or that you can just hear. So I set it to do the silent, so that only Avaricios would hear if it.
And what's the trigger? What triggers the alarm?
If someone goes into that door, like if that door is breached.
If that door is breached, got it. Okay, cool. All right. So seeing these figures ahead of you in the actual well of light room itself, Goran, are you going to go along the northwestern passageway then?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to continue up on that. Maybe when we get to the little Station of the Cross room right there, like I'll take a brief pause and everyone can just to do a listen, or maybe, like I want to assess at the Station of the Cross room and then assess again at the intersection.
Okay, so
the northwest intersection.
Moving to the intersection where you were first at takes one turn. Okay.
Okay.
To get up to here, or to the corner.
Back to the main intersection there. Yeah. That's 60 feet from the door, right?
Okay.
So so that's the first turn. So then you're slowly moving as quickly as you possibly can, but you're still silent. Everyone's still invisible. You don't see any heat signatures, Goran, but you can tell that you're at that Station of the Cross.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
I would just want to listen real quick and see if I hear anything closer than the hoots in the distance that you were describing before.
Okay. Why don't you?
I just want to point out I have 2 turns on my invisibility, so we don't have time to actually be cautious here. It's a sprint situation, which is what we talked about. Because I will be visible.
Okay.
If it took a turn to get to that juncture, I will be visible like in a matter of seconds. If we hang out.
So John, we'll skip the assessment at the Station of the Cross thing, but I do want to just peek around the corner in that northwest intersection before we go running in there.
Gotcha. Okay, so right as you are whipping past the Station of the Cross, and you can hear like Onweir's like, no, you can feel him going like, no, don't stop, and you go. As you do so, Goran, you can actually see in your peripheral vision that there is a heat source that appears like directly behind you. And when you whip your head around, Goran, you can see that Onweir is there in all his glory.
Okay. All right.
As another turn goes by.
Okay, cool. So let's keep going.
And then as you turn around yourself, both Onweir and Avaricios, you see Goran pop into existence.
Okay.
I had a feeling that might happen. Well,
Well, we're still silent, guys. We're still
still
silent.
silent.
We're still silent. Yeah.
We just got to get around the corner. We just got to get around the corner,
All right.
baby.
John,
Yes.
I'm going to do a quick peer around the corner before we go.
Sure thing. So it's kind of a funny looking situation now because Avaricios is the only invisible one. So Goran, you're basically holding like the front end of this ball, and like the other end of it's just sort of hanging. It makes you look like you're super strong because you're basically just dragging this thing behind you.
Happy to make you look buff, my friend. Happy to do it.
Okay. Anything beyond the door or beyond that intersection?
Okay. As you approach the intersection, before you peer around the corner, Goran, you can actually you do hear a sound coming from the west, and it is the sound of low snuffling. Yeah, and you so it's like definitely not like the sound of like a normal baboon. It's like a really like
Yeah.
and at the same time though, accompanied at the same time, you can hear a low moaning sound of like a delirious like definitely a male sound, like a at this coming from the exact same point. But the snuffling doesn't appear to be reacting to that sound at all.
Okay.
That's before you hit the corner.
Right.
I
want
get back
to
into the Station of the Cross.
I don't know, David. I feel like immobility is death. You know?
He's coming from the west, though, correct? So
We don't know if he's
direction we're
coming
trying to
or if
go.
he's just hanging out. He might just be hanging out.
John, could you specify? Did you say the sound was approaching, or we just heard the sound?
You just heard the sound. It seems to be stationary at the moment, but this is the very first thing you hear. You have not spent any time listening to it.
Okay. I want to go peer around the corner.
Okay. So you peek around the corner very, very carefully.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, we have mirrors. Oh, but we don't have light. Never mind.
There's no light. Yeah. As you peer around the corner, you can see basically, what is it? About 25 feet away, right at the door where you know your companions are on the other side of that door. There is a huge 4-armed baboon. Okay. And he is low to the ground and he's sort of snuffling around like the base of the door as if he smelled something. Okay. At the same time, you can see that one of his arms, like the lower set on the right side, is actually dragging a human form that is in chains. Okay. Once again, you're seeing this in predator vision, right? So you can't really make it out, but you assume that that's the male that you're hearing moaning, right? And I was going to say you might recognize the baboon, but I don't think you do with dark vision. Like you'd only be able to, yeah, you just see the form. Yeah. And it's just sort of.
Oh gosh. Now might be the time for that bell flinging strategy that David had talked about earlier. Like, can you like whip it either like down the well towards the well of light or up in that northeast corridor?
Or
here's the
over
thing.
his head into the magic room, the anti-magic room in the back.
So I have to put down Laro's sack to do this. So I'd have to place it on the ground, John. Grab the sling, so the hands are free. Grab a bell. So the sack is at my feet, which means if he comes our direction and sees me, all is lost, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have to sling it towards the magic room. Yeah. And then like book it through the silence really quick. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes. Yep. 100%.
Because I'm worried if he comes our direction, he's just going to see me there. Right.
And me.
Now,
Yeah.
Interesting enough, you the ape, as you're kind of contemplating this and you drop the sack and all that kind of stuff, you get yourself ready. The ape yanks a little bit harshly on the chain. And you can actually hear him quietly, like he's whispering. He goes, "Quiet, you." And he sort of like cuffs the guy a little bit, who immediately goes like whimpers a little bit and then goes quiet. And then he puts like one of his big meaty paws and he goes, Cisco returns soon.
Cool. So we'll see if this works. We're, again, just to describe to everyone what the thinking here is, we are still in a bubble of silence. But I got several bells and a sling with the intention of tossing them out of the cone of silence as like a noise distraction, right? I'm going to attempt to toss it past and over his head. So I will aim, for what it's worth, towards the right, like behind to the right if I'm looking down the hall, John, right? And above. So I could try to point it out if I can remember with the pointer. If I'm here on the corner, is that cursor showing?
Yep.
I'm kind of shooting it in a trajectory towards this direction, right? Rather than trying to like shoot it between him and the door. Does that make sense? For what it's worth.
To try to get it as
kind
far down that hallway,
and behind
right?
him, because if he hears it, right, if it's a 15-foot cone and he hears it for a second right behind him, right, over his shoulder, he won't immediately know what it is my thinking, and then he'll turn in the direction it goes rather than being like, oh, that came from this exact location.
I understand, yep.
Does that make sense? Okay, that's my thinking at least. And that's what I'm going to try to do.
Let's do it.
Okay, so you toss it, and this, what is this, a bell, you said?
Yeah.
It's a bell. Yeah.
Okay.
Bell and a sling. How far can you whip it on a sling?
I mean, it's the size of a rock, presumably just as far.
Well, your sling should have ranges, but whatever.
Oh yeah, my sling range is sorry. Actually, I don't have it written down because I'm a terrible player.
Horrible.
Sorry, gang.
Horrible. It doesn't really matter. So you whip it down the corridor, and it immediately escapes the silence bubble. But it actually doesn't really make a lot of noise until it actually would hit something, right? So far down the corridor, way past that door, it ding 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 ding, and he looms up out of his form, so like suddenly, like all of a sudden, like the blooming light of his heat signature just fills up the entire hallway, the roof, and you can see he yanks the prisoner close to him, and then at the same time, his two top arms, he does like a oh like that with his chest, and he goes, "You with me?" And he he moves down the corridor.
Okay, we're not waiting. As soon as he's going,
right second I go immediately.
we run, right? And we're silent, so he won't hear us like thumping down the corridor behind him.
Right.
But we got to get to that intersection and then immediately make the left turn into Plungertown.
Right. So what I'm going to say is that he is distracted by the bell, but his natural inclination will be to turn around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically give, because he's distracted by the bell, I'm going to say that there's only a 1 in 6 chance that he turns around. But if he does turn around, he sees you.
Okay.
Okay.
It's totally fair.
Fair enough.
Okay. Here we go. Rolling a 6. So you're good to go. So
one thing I hate about this is that every number on a D6 is a 1 in 6.
Yeah.
Which one's good?
Did John mean a 1 or did he mean a 6? We don't know.
It's always low for a D6 unless it's initiative.
All right.
Okay, so
Goran, hang back, let David go ahead, because if we tap on the door, you're silenced, they won't hear it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's just go.
Yeah.
Just get in there.
Onward, go ahead.
I run in and I tit on the door, and I mean, we don't want him to hear us tapping on the door. I'm not sure.
No,
we said
it's
they would only open
silence.
the door if we knock.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Can't we just open the door?
Yeah, can we just open the door? It's not locked, right? We're going to open the door and they're going to see Isocritus robes. They're going to stab me in the neck. This is going to be a hilarious way for me to die.
All right, let's just go. Come on, guys.
Okay, open the door.
Right, let's just go. Just open the door.
Well, it's not that complicated, because when you decide to open the door outside of silence, so you're like, and you open the door up, it makes a sound. The door makes a sound. The four-armed baboon whips his head around, whoa, as he looks as you guys are all piling in. At the same time, you are met with the gleaming shine of, like, what is it, 5 weapons? all pointed at you. I'm going to make the exact same call. that there's a 1 in 6 chance that whatever they had ready, because
I told you guys we shouldn't do this, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
they're being good retainers, right? You like they are defending. They are they are aware.
4 HP.
1 in 6 chance that they just immediately react to any intruder coming in. And here we go. A 2. We're good to go. Okay, so you move to the door. You're like hustle, and you close the door behind you.
As you unlock it, can we lock it, Bart?
There's no lock.
I think we just all run as a group as fast as we can towards the pyramid, and then defend at the pyramid, not at the door.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Let's do it.
Okay. So as you rush in, you have Yost and Sam and Y'all and Lisbeth and Codswallop and Atticus. I think they're all there, right? You brought everybody?
Yeah.
So it's like it's
10
six retainers. Yeah. They're like, oh, it's you. Why didn't you give the secret?
Go.
There's an 8 behind us.
Oh, shit. Okay. What do you mean there's an 8 behind you? Oh, my God. And so everyone's like booking it as fast as they can. And the door, as you guys are running as fast as you can, like boom, just bursts. It bursts against the wall and shatters. It's who's there? And as you're running as fast as you can towards the thing. So you're moving at 60, however. If you want to keep that ball with you, give me 1 second. I'm just going to check the status of this door. Let's see what we got here.
Can I just go ahead and tell everyone to catch our flank after we run? Because it's fair to say we ran past everyone and all of the retainers are behind us rather than in front of us.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
So
love it.
In this room, it's continual light, right? So you guys are basically whipping around the corner, at that corner at the that first corner out of the room at the time when the door bursts open and like splinters fly everywhere, right? And you can see in all of his glory, you actually recognize this four-armed baboon. It's the other one that you this was Tresco. This is the much older, slightly slower moving one that didn't kill Squeegee and Yonwin and are there any more that died at the hands of Cisco? So
this is our pal. This is a nice one.
Your previous trip to Plungertown, though, it was Cisco coming from the north that ripped Yonwin in half, then chased Squeegee and Squeegee tried to, surrender and then got smushed against the wall. That was all Cisco. Tresco was the one that was coming up from the south, right at that same time. So that's that same guy. Okay, he's now here. Now, what he's dragging behind him, okay, and who's basically just like a loose rag, like just being yanked by Tresco, is a poor suffering prisoner. This guy's basically wearing only like a soiled tunic and breech clout, and he is. You could. He's hunched over, but you could tell if he was standing normally, he'd be very, very tall, very, very skinny, definitely whiskin. He has a ratty, dirty, but blonde top knot, like his hair. His hair is his pate is shaved, except he's got like one top knot. But he has a long handlebar, like Fu Manchu, thin mustache that drapes down. Okay, and he is dressed in. They don't appear to have stripped him. Oh, I should have said he's not wearing a soiled tunic. My bad. I forgot that. I wrote this down. He's actually wearing an ill-fitting. Like you can see that it doesn't fit him that well. It's like too large for him. A set of armor, like red armor, the same kind that Samantha is wearing. And he looks extremely malnourished, as if he's kind of been run through the mill. But he's being yanked behind Tresco as he's like running towards you. And you guys are booking as fast as you can. And do you tell your retainers to defend you, or are you telling them to kind of follow you as quickly as you can?
Everybody, I think we're doing like a strategic retreat where they're behind us. John, I would also, since I'm visible now, I might as well, in my best Isocritus voice, say, "Tresco, you fool! You've broken our door!" And just see if it makes him pause for a second. He's looking at the back of my robe, right?
Okay, so actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll 2d6.
And that's how many retainers we lose.
Yeah. You see, so what he does is he comes up short as you yell that out as you guys are running. He like stops and he like turns his head a little bit. He looks down and he goes, You're not smart man. You're not smart man. Who are you?
Go ahead, buddy.
We were running and yelling this, right? Like this is all kind of in action.
Yeah.
I'll say, I am the man that will free you from. Fuck, I don't know what I say. If he knows I'm not the smart man, that's. I say, I am Isocritus's confidant, Alurius. He certainly told you, Tresco, you forgetful old baboon.
Oh, that's the mean things that Cisco tells me.
You hurt his feelings.
Oh, I feel bad for him.
He says, "Why you run? Stop."
Fuck. I say, because you burst the door down. I thought you were going to take my head off.
Dude, tell him Garalad's in trouble and needs help.
Garalad's in trouble. Oh, yeah. There are infiltrators down in the library.
Oh. Garalad, the master in trouble? Is it Cisco?
It is.
I knew it. He says, come, you with me. And he yanks his prisoner. And he says, you. And he points, like he's basically moving away, and like one of his free arms, he like points back at you, like in just gestures without looking at you. He goes, you stay.
Sure.
You become Tresco's pets later.
Yeah. Tell him we'll mind the prisoner. We don't want him to slow him down.
Sure.
Get there fast.
Okay. So he stomps off, dragging his prisoner. Doosh, doosh, doosh.
Wow, I did not expect that to work.
as you guys are turning around the corner, he actually comes back around and he pokes his head back around and he goes, "Sorry about door." And he like moves off.
Oh, I know this guy now. We gotta free this guy from the evil grip of mind.
Oh my god,
manipulation.
We might have just started World War Monkey War. Then we're like
awesome.
I mean, I would love for that rivalry to play out. But yes, okay, well.
So you continue booking, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that out of the way, you are there is an open entrance now into the main parts of the thing, but that aside, you're basically left to your own devices. You have not seen hide nor hair of any packs of baboons or Cisco or anything like that. So they do appear. He does appear to have rallied at least most of the ones that were in the close area around you, and gone up to the laboratory. So you make your way back to the pyramid, and you work your way up.
Plunge it, John.
I'll hold hands.
Now, this is the first time that you've actually used the plunger on this end, right? So you're pulling out that rod.
Right out of my prison pocket.
Somewhere random.
60, so it's going to take... well, you were running too, so I would actually say only one turn has passed since you entered into the room, because you are running as fast as you possibly can.
I'll give the hooded lantern back to... Elizabeth, so because my hands are full, so she can light it back up.
Gotcha. Yes. Do I have your lantern down? I don't think I do, actually.
I mean, I was carrying it, but I had to stow it to carry the ball. So,
right. That's kind of an issue.
Here's a moment of truth, guys. Here's where we find out if we go back to Goblinville or if we end up in some other rando part.
Okay, so who's putting the plunger in?
Me. I'm plunger boss.
Goran, are you doing it the exact same way that you did on the other end?
Yes.
Push down.
You do it.
That's a great question, though. We should remember, because of the way that I engaged with it the last time at the other end.
You pulled it, and you ended up in some interdimensional pocket.
But there may be something within this pyramid as well worth looking at that we could hide in, but we will probably get in trouble doing that. So let's come back to it later. But that's good to think about.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so you run up the top. There's the lapis lazuli platform on top, the small little triangle, and you guys are all sort of arrayed down from Gorand. And so you arrange yourself the same way as you did before. Gorand is like, "You ready? Ready." And he puts the plunger in. Of course, he's still quiet. And you all wink out of existence. When you reappear a moments later, little bit of a disconcerting thing as you teleport, and you find yourself standing atop a triangular platform, this time surrounded by green mist all around you, and you realize that you are back in the debouchement level.
Oh,
However, now our rod is back in Monkey Town, right? Like that one is gone, right, John?
yeah, it doesn't come
Yes.
with us.
No, it does not come with you.
Should we take this one with us?
Interesting.
Oh yeah,
I
does
don't
it
think we can.
does it detach? I mean, if we
No,
look
just
at
pulling it-
if we
pulling
look
it
this
to-
yeah, like
Sorry,
the
go ahead.
same way that we attached the other one, can we reverse engineer that to take this off without like pulling it and doing weird stuff to it?
I'm sorry, give me a second. I had a little hiccup there with Albert.
If we had been maybe a little bit less free with our invisibilities or whatever, I mean, everything worked out the way it should have. But I'm just like, one of us could go through invisible silence, go back to Monkey Town, grab the plunger, and then make their way out through the other staircase. I mean, they'd probably die.
Yeah.
But, you know. Anyway.
Okay, so let me just
Got
go
a
back.
cloak that'll redo it, Mike. So I will definitely do that next time around if you want to. We can do it in about 10 minutes when we come back here. If we live.
Let me just get getting my key up here. Give me a second. All right, so this room is unlit as well, right? But you're at the very top of the pyramid. Once again, you've got the frescoes, but that are obscured by the green mist. Actually, you're not surrounded by it. It actually comes up like 3 feet from the floor, so it's actually kind of like a sea of mist that's kind of below you at the same time. Okay, so you let's see, where are you on this map here? Yes, indeed. Okay, so you're like, whew, whoa, all right, cool. And you're back on this level. You can hear actually the moment that you kind of assess that you're back on this level again, and you kind of get your senses around you. Everything seems normal in the room as far as a pyramid underground with green mist speaks of normal. But
Yeah.
what you immediately hear, however, is you can hear excited goblin chattering coming from the east out of the room.
They found the staircase.
Yeah. So I mean, these guys are, they're still our pals. They're still our friends. We just got them good and drunk just 20 minutes ago, right? 30 minutes ago, whatever. Why don't we just go back east the way that we came? I mean, we could cut north through the catacombs, but there might be trouble up there.
Yeah, we're carrying a lot of stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
You can also, interspersed with the goblin chattering, you can also hear the two vying magic mouths actually doing their speeches.
Oh, okay, so they're in
They're
that
right
hallway.
there.
Yeah.
All right, so
I'm gonna say a turn went
think-
by getting up the pyramid and teleporting.
I think is the silence still up? Or we calling silence off?
It's
or-
still up.
Do you want to drop it, Matt?
If I can, I don't know if dropping things works the same way in this edition that it does in others. It's not like concentration. Is it the way it's worded? It sounds like it just
Yeah, it's a good question, actually. I don't know. If you can-
Duration is 12 turns.
Yeah, I think it just lasts. I think it just lasts unless it's something that you have to. It says that you actively keep up. So I think you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
Lauren.
Oh, well.
I
I think I
invisible.
Yeah.
I continually make stinky farts standing next to people and then walk away.
I think what I'll say is you guys are carrying a giant shiny disco ball, and I'm carrying an enormous sack of loot. Perhaps I can gesture to our retainers to sort of create a obfuscating mass around us as much as they might be able to. Does that make sense? Where
Yeah,
like
they get it. Yeah.
they'll be in front and kind of behind. So when we're walking, you know,
Mhm.
we're not like really broadcasting the situation, at least unless they're Snoopy.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
do that, and then let's see what happens.
So there's a large
Go east,
amount of you.
yeah.
Like, I mean, you know, Mort's in the NPC cloud, but technically there's actually like 10 of you who are all marching out of here as you come down. So yeah, so they kind of encircle you guys. It's not perfect, obviously. Any sort of
course.
deep inspection would give it up, but
You could also throw a cloak over the mirror ball.
Why don't you
Okay.
do it?
okay. And you march out of the room, and you can see immediately that there are three goblins. They are situated right at that. Is that a mirror there? Let me check.
I think those are the mouths.
No, that's
those
actually
two.
No.
Arches?
So there's a door. So in between, they are situated in between the two mouths, and there is a door that's in between them. Actually, I think Ted's little guy got moved here. Whoop whoop. There we go. Right at that door, there are three goblins, and they are hovering over the prone form of a fourth. Okay, and they look to be a little bit like in the mouths are like speaking their battle of words right at the same time, and you can see that they're sort of frustrated both by the noise and by what they're looking at. They kind of turn around and they're like, "Oh, it's you!" And they're hovering over, and you can see like the form there is actually like a long wooden thing that is actually like rising out of the belly of one of these goblins.
Oh.
So it's obvious that he is and there's like a pool of blood that's sort of trickling out from underneath him.
Is the goblin definitely dead?
It appears that way, yeah. But it looks like he just recently died, and they're like, "Oh no!" They're like holding their heads, and you can see like they're breathing heavily, right? And they all have their weapons out, and they're just sort of like bemoaning the fact of like what just happened. They're like, "Oh, that was who knew it was trapped? Oh God, it's got to be those guys, those damn beastmen."
Friends, what happened here? Oh my gosh, we were gone for like 10 minutes, and what?
We went south through the door, south through a long passageway to the south, and it opened up, and there was a trap when we opened the door. It sprang. We thought a barricade of debris. We knew it was the beastmen. We knew it was them. But the moment we stepped in, spears from out of nowhere went right into Mortimer. Not Mortimer. That's a horrible name.
Gobliano J. Mortimus.
Yeah.
Well, let me take a look, and I'll go down, and I'll look at him, and if he really does seem dead, I will say, "I'm sorry. If you had only brought him to me a little bit sooner, maybe there was something I could do."
I thought you were going to do the McCoy line. This is your chance. He's dead, Jim. He's dead, Jim. Which he is.
Well, I don't know the goblin's name, so is that Jim?
Well, well, Jim is definitely the one who was bemoaning the fact that his buddy was dead.
I am sorry, Jim. Your friend is not going to make it.
And he's like, "No!" And he says, "Who knew that they were this close? We have to tell. We have to tell the boss. We have to tell Killick. Must tell Killick. And they don't bring word to the king. And the beastmen are right there. They're right there. They must have fortified. Was it recent? We don't know."
You should bar the door, friends. That way they don't come looking for you. They know you're here now.
It's good advice. It's good advice. Give us a second, though. It just happened.
I have my sympathies as I walk past with my giant bag. yes, that's so. Oh God, I'm crying inside.
Yeah. It sounds like a them problem, not an us problem.
Did you not hear us crying out whenever we were retreating from here? Where were you?
Oh, we were in the western catacombs. The many deep in the
mist.
Yeah, very, very dangerous in there. Very dangerous. Don't go.
Foul undead in those alcoves.
We know about that.
Look,
yeah.
Look what it did to our friend. And I try to make noise. Okay.
So Jim, when you say that you came from the catacombs, like Jim, he kind of looks up from his friend, and he looks over at you, and he comes right up to you and he kind of peers up at you like defiant with his like hands on his hips and his like his spear in his hand, and he's like, "Catacombs are north. That door there," and he points to the north door. "You did not come through that door.
You are very observant, young.
Why
young
you lie?
goblin.
Why you lie to Jim?
Yeah, David, why did you lie? The best thing that could possibly happen is that the goblins go into Plungertown and start a war with the monkeys. That would be like the best thing ever.
I say, my friend, I was trying to protect you from the truth. Do you want to know the truth?
Jim is a truth seeker. You tell Jim the truth.
I like Jim.
Jim is the best.
Oh my God.
Yeah, put you on the spot. That's right on. We're
Well, we were in, the other room, the one we came out from.
the room with the miss, with the pointy, with the triangle.
Yes, well, the mists have a. Do you know the word aphrodisiac, my friend?
Oh no.
Feel good juice.
They have a feel good effect when you inhale them in large quantities, my friend. One day you'll know. And me and my friends were, we were gallivanting in the nude, in the mists.
They're all like,
you should try it sometimes. I highly recommend it. But I didn't want to embarrass you. I know goblins are very progressive, but
all the retainers are like looking at you like, they're like, will it bring Ernie back to life?
I'm afraid not. I don't think so.
Not that feel good.
So, my friend, not that feel good. No.
Okay, we watch you. You be careful, beastmen. To the south.
Like I said, get iron stakes or something of the like, my friend. I think it would help protect you from them.
He says,
or maybe a large, heavy cauldron or something to just bar the way.
Those are good ideas. They highly organized. They're traps. They know what they're doing.
Not as intelligent as goblins, though.
No, of course not. Not as intelligent as that one. And he points to Mort. More like that kind. And he points to Mort. Imperial, wearing that same gear as that. And he points to Avaricios, like that.
Because the goblins are all dressed in like old Imperial armor, right?
Mort is, but these guys aren't.
No, I'm sorry, not the goblins. I meant the beastmen.
The beastmen are, yeah. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Well, my friends, we'll bring whiskey when we come back. It's always a joy. I'm sorry for your friend, but we will drink to his valiance next time.
And they say thank you, and they're like, they kind of quietly and sadly start to drag the body back up that northeastern passageway. And they as they go, Jim says, "You want more feel good juice down east. You hear?" And he's like, can you hear them? Hear them? They having fun while the rest of us die. I wring their necks. I throttle them. And you can hear actually beyond the sound of the magic mouths. You can hear down the eastern corridor, which you have been down. You can hear the sound of frolicking goblins. Like goblins definitely having fun, and they appear to be having fun in like a swimming pool of sorts. Like you can hear splashing.
I was wondering about that because there's green mist in there too.
So they're in the well that we saw.
Yeah, the one that we didn't have time to investigate because we were focused.
And we still don't have time because we are still focused.
What do you do?
Up that hallway to the the northeast.
Okay, so you don't investigate down to the east.
To watch the goblins swim.
I'm just checking.
No,
not yet, John.
We let the goblins have their fun. Let's go.
Okay, so you with that encounter took a turn. Then moving slowly up the passageway. Goran, once again, you're still silent and emanating 15 feet around you. And thusly, the entire party is basically silent because you want to be hidden, basically, like you're carrying the ball. Yeah, just saying that to myself to get myself around it. And so as you move up the corridor and you get to that intersection, you know that here was the point where you actually saw goblins fucking around with that baboon fresco, right?
Mhm.
Those goblins are no longer there. However, they're the baboon fresco itself. You remember how they kind of pointed out like it was the eyes, right? They were saying. So between the eyes, there's actually something new that has been written, scrawled in like charcoal, like between the eyes, and it says GOG, GOG.
Ah, okay. Gog was the guy down in the chasm, right? When we were flying around and doing our stuff, didn't we hear
We talked
like
to
a voice
yeah.
down there?
before I got a
think
nice
so.
little buzz. Yeah.
So is this a stairwell down to that area, which might be? And we heard the whole rumors. Wasn't he like a troll or something? Something? Did we not make the assumption that he was
The
part
troll
of that troll
lifts.
market?
Yeah.
Yeah, good recall, guys. Nicely done.
So Matt, well done, Matt.
You guys, so going up that corridor, and checking out that boon real quick, also took a turn as well. And you make your way back into the main room, right? I guess.
Yeah.
Unless you want to fuck around with that.
No, we're leaving.
Let us not fuck around. Let's just find out what's at the top of these stairs.
Okay, so as you move up the northern corridor that then goes into the debauch room, you can see immediately, even before you enter the room, that something's different in this room too. It takes you a moment to realize that what they've done is they've actually set up a number of braziers here that are merrily lit, that are actually close and set around the statue. So instead of the statue being dark, from only having the torches along the walls that enshrouded the statue itself in darkness, now it is completely illuminated in all of its glory, its 15-foot tall glory, in the middle of the room. So it looks like they have, they've kind of basically set up like really good light. So this entire large room now is completely well lit, and quite warm actually now too.
I said it last time, I'll say it again. Love the goblins. Kind of folk I want to hang out with. Much better than those halflings, right? They glam up the place. It's warm. They're merrymaking.
Exactly.
I like these guys. Yeah, yep. I'm in.
They have obviously, actually, you would have seen this the first time you came back down again, that they've removed like the stain of what was that? Was it a vet? Is that her name? Ygritte? I can't remember. Whoever the body was that of Dalton's darling that got dragged away. But everything's been cleaned up, right? In general. They haven't set out any plants or anything like that, but it's looking pretty. It's looking pretty good. But you do see that there is something going on here. However, as you're making your way around the statue to get back to the stairways up the pyramid, that there are 4 goblins here, and they are actually dragging 3 blackened goblin corpses away from the north side of the statue, which is the side where that faces you. You know what I mean? Like it's like the statue's facing north.
Is that the side with the little box?
Indeed.
Like
yes.
Yeah.
And there you can see that there are black scorch marks that are everywhere within 25 feet of that statue in front of it, that all seem to be like around that box. And they're just sort of like, sadly, like this is basic. You're getting the feeling that like goblins sort of live and die at the same, like they're just okay with it. Like they don't want to die, but like death is just kind of part of life, so like there's another scene of goblins dragging corpses away. You know what I mean? And they're just like, oh, and then you're just like dragging these 3 bodies away, and they are completely black and like husks, like after the Joker like classed that guy with the funny button, you know what I mean? Like in the first Batman, like that's what they look like. They're like just husks and just dragging their way, and they're like smoking, like.
Just to clarify that, is there any sense of a source of that char?
No.
Like
Yeah,
a
the chest.
nozzle, or
it seems to be.
Itself, not
so
the statue.
it looks to be. It's not like something. So you're looking at like the scorch marks on the ground, right? As they're dragging away, they just sort of look at you and they sort of wave at you. They're like, and they're like, don't mind
Rough
us.
day, huh?
Bad day. And they kind of point to the box. You know what I mean? They're like, and they and you can see that the box is open. Okay. there, when you look at the scorch marks, it does not look like it was like a cone effect, like something radiated out from the box or from the statue, right? It's, you know what I mean? Like it's not like a spread on the ground. It looks like something like sourceless, like it's just like black scorch marks, like 25 feet around the front of the statue.
Can I look above us real quick at the ceiling and just make sure I don't see anything above us that might have?
You do not. You see whiffs of smoke wafting up from the residue.
I just picture them as like those sad Ewoks after his friend gets like shot by the ATST.
Yeah.
Sits down next to him.
Way to bring us down, Mike. Way to bring us down.
I guess I'm going to walk just outside of the silence cone so I can say things that are heard. But once we start ascending the stairs, I just want to say it seems like our friends are testing the boundaries of this floor pretty quickly. If we have any interests here, we might want to pursue them soon than before they have.
I agree. I think we need to. I'm just mouthing this because I'm still close to Gordon. But yeah, I give the thumbs up. John, what position are these? Are the arms of the statue? I'm just curious.
They have not changed. So whatever the default was, which I believe was at their side.
Okay. And you say the box is open now. Was it previously closed last time we came down?
It was previously closed. It's a stone box, and the lid has been, but it's on hinges, and the lid has been flipped open.
Okay. And there's nothing in the box.
Do you look in the box?
Yeah.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
So you can see that there is something that is blackened and scorched that is inside the box itself. What's interesting is that the interior of what's obviously unnatural is that there's black scorch marks all around the box. The box itself is in pristine condition. Nothing has touched the box. However, the item that is inside the box is also blackened, but the interior of the box shows no sign of having gotten that same amount of heat. All right. What do you pull out or get closer to what's in there, or not?
I don't know. That seems maybe like more risk than we want right now. However, guys, what I think is that when that box was opened and it was exposed to air, the thing inside is what caused the scorching, right?
Well, why don't we ask then? What happened? What happened, guys?
You're in a tone of silence.
Yeah.
I can ask you, what happened, guys? Before they walk away.
We found symbol, disc. We put it had a alligator on it. And we said, probably gift for Thoth. Yeah, alligator. And we put it in, and black flame from out of the sky. Kill all of us. We leap. We survive, but not these guys.
So that's a smiting for
Black
you.
flame sounds to me like flame strike, right? Like there was some sort of like magical spell. Sorry, don't want to meta, but like black flame sounds like it was like some sort of Setite curse on this whole thing, right? Maybe.
Is it no idea?
So the fact that it was a disc with an alligator on it should tell you something.
Yeah, that's the symbol of Set, right? Like Set is alligators, right?
Yeah. And then this is a statue of Thoth.
Right?
Yeah.
So they put the wrong disc, the wrong god in this thing, and then triggered something bad. Can I poke the object in the middle with my spear?
Sure.
You're holding the disc. Sorry to be obnoxious. Are we giving the disco ball to someone else because you both are still carrying the disco ball?
Yeah. Are you gonna?
Should we give them to the retainers, or just because we should know, especially if we're going up top with them?
Yost can take my share of the disco ball.
Okay.
Right. Or Atticus, but he might get bits of himself on it.
Okay, so you poke it a little bit, and it moves around, like it clangs a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it does appear to be like a small, like holy symbol of some sort, but it's basically been scorched beyond recognition. But it is like a disc, a disc shape, like about this big.
Gotcha.
You yoink that thing out of there,
like the Raiders of the Lost Ark thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
But you said the metal is melted, or is it just obscured by ash?
It's not melted, but it's been scorched heavily. So it's tough to make out like the alligator symbol on it. You can, when you're looking for it, you can kind of see it, but it's heavily blackened.
Gotcha. All right. I'm okay leaving it, dude. You can go in and get it if you want. But I'm gonna get 25 feet away from the statue before we get.
Onweir is on the stairs currently with their little sack, going, "Have fun, you guys."
You know what?
man.
You know what? Let's stay true to our mission. Let's get up the stairs.
You
get
can
back
come back
up.
and catch on fire next time we come down.
That's right. Yeah, we're gonna
we
do
should
that.
literally come right back down here after we drop our shit off.
Go up, have a rest, come right back down.
I thought you were planning the stated plan was to go through Dalton's entrance, right?
Yeah. So we're still
right.
still coming back down,
It's
but
up to
we're
you.
going down that way. Yeah.
No, you're right.
What was I going to say? I just confirmed the statue's arms are at its side, Matt.
Oh, they're down. Okay.
They're down.
And that was the same place that they were when we came down.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So they haven't been messing with the arms. All right, guys, let's go up the stairs.
Let's hit the end.
Okay, so you're like, are we almost out of here? And you're like, we think we are. And you're like, you're so expecting to be like gouged for money at this point, but you're not, thanks to your own actions. And you are free. They don't come out and greet you this time or anything like that, or talk to you. They're just sort of dragging their bodies away, and you just smoothly move right back up the stairs.
These guys are great. I love these guys so much.
I'm bringing whiskey every time. Whiskey's heals all wounds, right?
There you go.
Exactly. Lysion's blessings. You can't do better.
The investigation of the statue and talking to the goblins, that also took a turn at that moment. So like when you're about to actually start to go back up the steps is the moment when Avaricio. Oh no, why don't I have that marked down? That's right. You would have actually had to have Yost not become blind.
Yeah.
Right.
We would have done that.
He would have dropped it. Yeah.
Back.
Yeah. Okay. So a little bit less than halfway up the pyramid steps, you suddenly finally actually hear each other on the footsteps as you.
Super awkward, John, because I was right in the middle of a really loud fart.
Oh, it's so embarrassing. Yeah, those trapped narrow hallways.
Crop dusting the staircase behind me. Yeah.
You just hear like Yost give out like oh jeez. Why?
Something died.
I'm so glad I'm the goblin's retainer and not his. And you make your way all the way back up. So that takes another 6 turns. So that was 9, 10, 11. So at the point you arrive at the very top of the pyramid, that's 9, 10, 11. It is 11 a.m. As you come out the top. And
It's a good morning's work, boys.
It is
Yeah.
indeed.
Woo.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's try and get back to the inn before we get eaten by a dragon.
Time to get my second cup of coffee, you know?
Yeah.
Second breakfast this
right.
time.
Getting back to the inn, should nothing happen. I'm so glad I actually made this post on Discord because I refer to it all the time. Pyramid to inn, you're moving at 60. It's going to take you 5 turns going by the direct route, which I assume you're doing, right? Going on the Imperial Boulevard, right? Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna ask Njal if he can carry the ball for me. So like, it's been a little awkward doing it with the hook. So
Yeah. So Njal can strap his sword. Is he wearing?
axe, yeah.
What's he wielding these days?
the axe,
The axe.
The Ruiner.
the one that remembers the blood of the last thing you
that's
killed.
Njal. I'm sorry, I was thinking of Yost. You want Njal to carry the ball?
Yeah.
Y'all and Yost.
Yeah, I think Njal could actually. What's Njal's strength? It's pretty beefy.
Yeah,
right?
he's really strong. Njal's strength is a 17.
17. Oh, he can carry it by himself.
Okay.
So he
It just turtles it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. He just puts it on. He's like, oh,
Does he
I got it
recognize
for
it?
you.
Does he recognize it?
Good question.
Have you
Actually,
seen this?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, that's that's the one that I told you that I saw, kind of sitting there in the corner. I assume that's the same one you pulled out of that library.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they never paid it no mind. It looked like it was just some sort of ancient relic that they didn't give a shit about. But
Do you think did they ever talk about? Did they take it apart, or what? Do you think it was apart when they came down there?
well, I wouldn't know. They just never seemed to pay attention to it. I mean, I
But
guess
as long as you were there, it was in peace.
as long as I was there, yeah. I mean, I don't want to prognosticate or anything like that. I couldn't tell you, but I mean, it's like they could have, if they didn't want the thing, they probably could have easily have destroyed it, or maybe it's magical and they couldn't. I don't know. They kept it there for a reason, though. Anyways, so but he lugs it back, It's very heavy, and you make your way off the Imperial Boulevard. Nice, bright, sunny day. The guards sort of wave you forward. Once again, each one of the in-staff guards is also accompanied by a member of the Wine Dark cohort, and they all recognize you and greet you, and you can see that they are like, usually they were a little bit bored up there, right? But now they're like extra vigilant. Like they're watching everything. Like you actually see them put their hands on their weapons when they actually spot moving figures, which is you guys moving up the boulevard. And they really, they actually, I should actually say that they actually like knock an arrow and wait for you to actually like come into focus, like where they can really actually see who you are. Yeah, David.
I'm going to remove Isocritus's robes before we enter into the visibility of any other human beings. So I'm stowing.
Okay. Yeah.
Going back to like my regular look now that we're not in the dungeon.
Sure thing. Okay. Cool.
They're probably all bloody and nasty anyway.
It's fine. It's just a little blood, a scrub out. I just don't want to be walking around looking like him.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I think.
Anyway, sorry.
If I'm thinking correctly, I think Onweir would be the only one that actually looks like the worst for wear, right? Like the only one that would be spattered with blood, right?
And that was somebody else's. I don't think any of us took any damage, did we? I don't think so.
No one got hurt.
Not on this delve. I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah. So you're looking good. Like you're looking okay. And there's like a lot of you. There's like 10 of you as you kind of come out triumphantly. And it's like the one thing that you cannot hide, even with being surrounded by the retainers, is the fact that you guys are loaded. Like you came out with stuff, right? Like you're you know, and y'all was like, you know, as you're moving past and Onweir's got
how big does the bag get? I mean, I know when you put stuff in it, it takes 2 hands.
Yeah. But
it's still only one bag. It's not like we're like,
no, it doesn't grow in size. You're right, but it is a large sack size. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just that the moment that there's something in it, it looks like a full sack.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's
yeah.
So
and feels one bag and one disco ball. Yeah, you know, it's
but the disco ball has a cloth over it, correct? Because I don't want it to be shining around in the sunlight here.
Yeah.
We decided to put cloth on it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so you make your way back to the Inn of the Broken Head, and let me just check something real quick. Don't mind me. Okay. And you make your way back. And let's see, what did I say, 5 turns? Yeah, so another hour. So at noon, basically we're about noon when you get back. When you get back to the inn, you can see that the inn staff in the Wine Dark cohort are reinforcing the main door to the inn with iron bands, and they are boarding up the windows at the same time. You do see that there are a number of carts with goods and wares hanging from them that have been set up in the courtyard. A number of new horses and things like that the groomsmen are taking care of, and you see that that there are a group of what appear to be merchants of some sort that are sort of huddling together. They are sort of being, frisked by the Wine Dark cohort. Like they're being like looked at like really carefully to make sure that they are who they say they are, sort of thing. And they look a little bit put out, you know what I mean, as they get marched into the inn at the same time.
They just humans, or are they goblins, or what?
Humans, humans, yeah. And they all look to be Arcontian or Thorkin assimilated Arcontians. You know what I mean? Like they're wearing Arcontian clothes, but they're Thorkin ethnically. You know.
At a quick glance, what kinds of things do these carts seem to be holding?
So it's mostly, for meta purposes, it's like if you want to go shopping for basic gear, you can get it here.
Okay. Okay.
However, prices will probably be exorbitant. Mm-hmm. So in you go into the inn. Kronos and Estelle greet you, but they seem to be very, very distracted. Both of them seem to be even more paranoid than they were before. They seem to be very hands-on with the boarding up of the inn, right? And there's like a lot of hustle and bustle of just sort of making the place more defensible, right? You can hear Kronos actually whisper, talking to Estelle about maybe even, they may think it's like a pie in the sky, like they may not have the labor or the money for it, but they're actually thinking about like building a palisade around the inn, sort of thing, that sort of thing. And they're like, and Kronos is like, he's like, but the sooner you can get down to Galsterwick and talk to them, the better, probably, so we can get all this behind us. Or I'm afraid, my love, that we're gonna have to pack up and go. I just don't know if this is all worth it. And he's just not looking like his jolly self. But at least we've got the business, as you can see. And as the merchants, you kind of file in with the merchants. At the same time, in the common room, you can see that there are a few Knights of the Azure Shield, which are there. The Popo, the merchants, right? The Wine Dark cohort, and then crowded amongst them as well, there appears to be another adventuring party.
Mm.
And
I lost Mike, by the way.
Oh yeah, I did too.
You lost what?
Mike is gone.
Oh,
he
lost Mike.
joined that other party.
Do we want to do a quick pee break and mic retrieval?
Yes, let's do a quick mic retrieval. We will be right back. Okay, we're back from our quick little break. We got Mike back with us. So you're in the common room. It's crowded with merchants and work people and the Wine Dark cohort and the Knights of the Azure Shield and blah blah blah. And in addition, there's this other party there. They are all bellied up to the bar itself. This is the first time that you've actually seen them. However, you do recognize at least one of them who appears to be the leader based upon the description that the guards have given you in the past and what the goblins themselves have seen as well. The person that draws your attention immediately is a short and stout and a little bit overweight man who has a wide grin and a set of perfectly white teeth. There's a strong odor of hair pomade that's kind of wafting off of him. But he also has he's wearing like a bright, colorful turban with like dangling chains and jewels on it as well, like a bright, colorful, multicolored turban. And he's wearing loose, kind of colorful robes, and he has like kind of curled up slippers. You know what I mean, like with the points curled up. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But he's sitting on a stool, right? Go ahead, David.
I'm going to turn to Goran and say, oh, tacky fashion, this one. Doesn't have near the taste of Sunless, with much more refined Nefertiti hats and girl shoes.
You can see
I don't know.
that
I think he looks quite dashing.
I don't know what you're talking about. Foolish dwarf. You wouldn't know anything about the high societies.
he does have like a lovely looking staff, which is leaned up against the bar. His companions are all varying sorts of. They're also all look vaguely dashing in some sort of way, like they're very clean, sort of thing. But they're a motley crew of adventurers. There's two large but very different looking, but both equally huge looking male fighter types. One appears to be Arcanti and one appears to be Thorkin. The Thorkin man actually looks like he's like a farmer rube, basically, like right off the farm. Just like he's got that farmer frame, like just built like just done manual labor all of his life, and he has like an adorable like Prince Valiant page boy haircut.
Love it.
Sort of shoulder length though. The other one is as large as Yost, and I'm not joking, like big, but where Yost disdains Amma because he wants the pecs to show. This guy is sort of like if you picture the movie Conan the Barbarian, where Conan is like Yost, this guy is like the is it Rexor? Like the cat.
Yeah.
Thulsa Doom's like main right hand guy, like just as big as Arnold, but like wears a shit ton of armor. You know what I mean? So picture Rexor. There is a halfling, a male halfling with a head. And there is a there is a I think she's armored. Let me just check real quick. Yep, she's wearing chainmail, and she has a raven. She's very severe looking and thin. She has raven hair that's tied into 3 long tails. And she's just sort of like looking down at everybody else, including everyone else in her party, like with just holding like a glass of wine. And then there appears to be a male wizard of some sort. He has cropped blonde hair, and he has like the Merlin from Excalibur like metal skull cap, right?
Perfect.
Yeah. He has underneath, so like I guess you wouldn't actually see the hair, but strangely enough, and what kind of draws your eye to this sort of, and he's sort of off to the side by himself a little bit, like on one end of the entire party on the bar, is that he has a tattoo of a skull over one eye, which has healed. Like, it has that weird sort of shiny scar tissue. You know how that happens? Like when you have like a really massive wound and like the new tissue grows and it's almost like almost has like a sheen to it, right? So that's like grown over like where he lost an eye, and then he's actually tattooed a skull over that eye.
He's a badass. We like him.
Yeah. And that guy is he's not wearing any armor, however, but he appears to be wearing like very utilitarian expeditionary clothes. Like I wouldn't say like civilian clothes, but he's not wearing armor. It's just like it's like built to like adventure in, you know what I mean? Sort of thing.
You described him as a wizard, though, yes? Or
it appears to be that way, yeah. You can actually see like there's like dangling from like a big fuck off chain that's attached to two parts of his belt is like a big spell book that's sort of like dangling off to the side, kind of hanging there. Anyways, this is the group which sort of presents itself to you see their backs anyways, but they all sort of like turn around. And the first guy you see is like the leader guy, and he kind of turns around and he's got this big toothy grin, and he like all 10 of his fingers all have rings on them. You know what I mean? He's like kind of short, like little stubby, and he's like, "Oh, well, hello. I see that we have finally come into contact with which must be the famous AV Club."
You're gonna die horribly, dude. That's just gonna be a problem for you.
It is so good to see up and coming neophyte adventurers adventure in the inn. Well, you're sure to be learning a lot from the 5 fingers of destiny. And he brings up like a left hand, and he pulls up his 5 fingers and he clasps them in like a fist. And you just see like all the other members of the party are just like, oh my God. Like they're all like give like a huge eye roll. He's like,
I hold up my one hook and I'm like, well,
Well, I can tell you some ways to avoid such things. Only the most neophyte of adventurers would ever have that happen to them.
Oh, no, I chose it. It's much better. When you've got one of those itches, it's perfect for it.
Well, it is certainly a pleasure to meet you. Quite a lot of hullabaloo going on here. You'll be happy to know that because of our vast expertise in the halls, that we have come out with a substantial amount of treasure and have bought the entire place around. So help yourself, please. Barkeep.
They own the inn?
No, this is gentlemen. We bought.
Wait.
What's going on? Why is everyone talking?
I'm confused. Are they saying they bought the inn?
No, they bought everybody around.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, that's...
we thought you bought everything around.
I was like, how much money did they get?
You'll forgive my friend. He's quite small in stature, and certain sounds just don't manage to reach him.
Well...
And our round is awaiting us. It seems as though you expected us. And I gestured far.
Where is that Kronos? Kronos? Well, we can't get good service around these parts anymore. He kind of moves around the bar, and he starts to serve the beers themselves. He's like, I'm sure Kronos won't mind, and he like slings you guys some ales, and he goes, introductions. My name is Roger the Rapier.
Oh, it's super creepy.
Why do you turn your nose up like that, dwarf? You should be pleased to meet me, for I am your savior here in the halls.
How so?
I shall teach you the ways of adventuring. I think that we could help each other, yes?
Oh, I think we have some pretty cool areas that we could pass on to you to go explore.
Indeed.
Oh.
We as well. And not just the halls, friends. We have scoured the length and breadth of the above-ground ruins. We have such stories to tell, but they don't come freely. Oh, no.
Awesome. Can't wait to get some of your...
Get settled. We have business to talk about. 5 fingers. And he holds up his hand. He goes, unite. And they all kind of huddle around him. And the funniest thing is that the wizard with the skull tattoo just sort of like shuffles over. He's got a little bit of a limp, and you can notice that he's actually the 6th member. And you can hear him under his breath. He's like, 5 fingers my ass, and he kind of
John, just to
yeah.
Go
ahead. I'm done.
Just to clarify, Roger, though he is donning many robes and bedazzlements, does not appear to us to be a spellcaster as well. Is he a roguish type, or is that a fair?
He has a very nice looking staff, which he has on him, but his robes are voluminous, so you don't know what might be held in them.
Is he actually carrying a rapier?
He is not carrying a rapier, no.
Okay. That's his wit he's describing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, he's not talking about a sword.
Andreas threw up a little bit in his mouth when he caught on to that. He was like, "Oh God, another one of these types." Is he gonna have to go to the way of hippopotamus? Because if he needs to, I know a guy.
I don't know this. I don't understand this immediate dislike of the 5 Fingers of Destiny. I don't know where this is coming from.
I didn't say everyone in the 5 Fingers Destiny. I just said Onweir deeply dislikes anyone he finds mildly threatening in his vicinity. Like there's only one gunslinger in town. We'll put it that way. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. You do see that unlike the knights and the merchants and everybody else who's in the thing, only the 5 Fingers are the ones that actually you make introductions. They actually introduce everybody. I'm not going to give you all the names right now, but throughout that series of introductions, you can see them immediately size up the fact that you're bringing a haul with you. Like they, your shroud over the ball, that doesn't matter to them. Like they can immediately tell it's something valuable. They know automatically. They see like the weight that you're carrying on, whereas you're sort of like lugging the sack, that sort. They don't say anything, but you notice that they noticed, right? Yeah. So it's up to you. So you can, at this point, you are now in a safe haven. So we can do some logistics and stuff like that. We will do the logistics. That will happen. But I don't know. Did you want to talk further with them or do anything else role-playing wise in the inn? Or do you want to just get right to like the mechanics stuff real quick?
I love the idea of role-playing with them, but I'm very eager to get some of the mechanics out of the way and maybe even start the new delve. That's just me.
Okay. So here's the deal. So you have there's plenty of merchants. You can basically get within reason anything adventure and gear wise. There is 150% markup on everything. Okay. So just be aware if you want anything, that's what it's going to cost. You have here's the deal with what you have. You have a pouch that you got from Isocritus' library, which had 299 gold in it. Okay. That is all the actual coin that you brought out of there. However, you brought out a number of books of high value, which is going to be the bulk of your XP from that. And you also get some XP for you're not defeating, but like being able to overcome a number of different monsters of enemies. So this is the way it broke. I already did all this in advance. So this is this is one of the rare times where I actually break down XP on air, but the total amount of XP that you have brought out of that delve is 6,469. That comes down to 647 XP per PC, 324 per retainer. Okay, you would have gotten like a ton more if you didn't have the retainers with you, but it's still a fair share. By my calculations, which I've already done, that should level both Gorand and Onweir.
Oh, yeah.
Gorand will go up to a Dwarf 5, which is amazing. I think only thing that happens with Gorand is that he will gain some hit points. Onweir, however, raises up to a level 4 Illusionist.
Ooh, congratulations.
There you go, bud.
Thank you.
Sweet. I think the only major thing is hit points, obviously, but you also get some more spells.
Maybe he'll actually get to cast some.
Yeah, so that gives you an extra that gives you an extra second level spell. So you have 2 first and 2 second now.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
But that does not bring you into the next bracket yet. Magic casting classes, it takes like a long time to get to those brackets. But yeah. And I believe that you guys had mentioned too that it would probably, the 324 for the retainers, I believe levels Yost. And I also think it levels Atticus.
Atticus Skullface.
Yep. And then Lisbeth also, because she was purely a normal human when she went in, because she got a single XP, at least, she gets a level. And Matt, why don't you tell everybody what we have discovered about Lisbeth's past?
Yeah, so Lisbeth is she's kind of, she when we met her, she was just slinging drinks, right? But she is actually very, very cool, and she has kind of roots in. Let me pull up her sheet here. She speaks what, Woldish, so that makes her Whiskin, I believe. Is that right?
No, Woldish is actually right? That's actually incorrect. I put the wrong thing. That's actually from Dolmenwood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's probably Thorkin, but
yeah. Okay, Thorkin, I had that wrong. But yeah, she's got like tattoos, and she actually has kind of like this nature-based belief. She's actually a druid. That she's finally kind of, once this adventuring spirit has gotten into her, she's finally coming into her own, and
right on.
She's going to bring some nature magic down into the dungeon if she goes back down.
Cool.
John, I might have lied. I think Atticus Skullface had 1900 XP when you gave him to me. It looks like he needs 2400 to level.
Oh, okay.
Next time, maybe.
Well, anyways, he has 324 more.
Nice.
Okay. So that's the deal. So we have a lot of stuff to go over here, but all pretty cool stuff. So do you want to do the books first, or do you want to do the spellbook stuff first, or in scrolls, David?
Prior to that, the 299 gold was in the ornate purse.
Yeah.
What was in the small bag?
I don't know.
Because we had a purse and a small bag. There
that was marbles, a bag of marbles. There's marbles in there. Yeah.
Sweet.
Oh, that's good. I lost my bag earlier. I lost my marbles.
As far as we know, mundane or very obviously mundane marbles. Is this like a...
It appears to be the case, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not beads of force. That would be awesome. All right. John, the only bookkeeping thing I have to do then is to roll my new hit points.
Okay. Give me a second.
And then take your time. I lost my owlbear anyway.
Okay, I'm ready.
Go to somebody else. I lost my owlbear. No, wait, there it is. I found it. I roll a D8, right? 1 D8 for the dwarf. Roll that bad boy. 3 more hit points. I'll take it.
Cool. And David, do you want to roll your hit points?
I should do that. I'm rolling a very meaty D4.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how that pans out for me. Oh, 3.
Hey,
I'm at
3.
I'm at a hefty 9 HP now, gang. That's
nice. That's almost double digits.
Yeah.
I'm getting up there. Cool. And then we have a lot of spellbook stuff to get through. Can we do the spellbook first? Maybe.
Yes,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have my spellbook, Tresti's, Isocritus's, I believe.
Yep.
And then I also never looked at, although that's back in Goswick, so never mind. I'll look at the other ones later. So those for now are what are on my person.
Okay, so here's the deal. You have to sleep the night,
Mm-hmm.
and then study the read magic spell, then cast the read magic spell in order to then translate the books. Do you understand? And you would have to cast 1 instance of read magic for every different spell book. Well, maybe that's actually not true. I don't think that's true. Let me check here real quick. Magic user spells. Read magic. Cipher magic with inscriptions runes. It lasts for 1 turn. Okay, so you can read anything during 1 turn, but I would say that every spellbook would be at least 1 turn, so you would have to cast it like 3 times. Right? So is that 3 spellbooks? No, there's 2 spellbooks, right? Tresties and
There's
Isos.
a
Mine, which I would already
magic
know
on as
everything
well.
in.
Yeah.
I have Tresties, I have Isos. For what it's worth, though we don't have to do it now, I also have a scroll case filled with scrolls, but I think we should do that another time.
Yeah, so I also have all the scroll info as well, if you want it, but each one of those would also take a read magic, right? Actually, the scrolls actually you would be able to decipher. You would be able to decipher all the scrolls with 1 casting of read magic. Okay. Yeah, Mike.
Can he memorize read magic in a 2nd level spell slot?
No. But he can use his 1st level spell slots to memorize as many as he wants, but that's 2, right?
It's 2.
So you want to
do both books. I'll do both spell books. Prior to going to bed, do we want to look at, just for bookkeeping's sake, do we want to look at the other books since it doesn't require me going to sleep first? Would you guys like to know what those are before I sleep? Doesn't really matter. Okay, sorry to divert us, John.
The other books, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, sit back and relax.
Easy listening.
All right. So what I'm going to do, now, as the audience out there, and probably all of you guys have realized by now, it's not just sort of like a book has a title, right? Like not in this one. There's like full details of like every single one. And as you might know as well, this is not sort of like a Skyrim thing where it's sort of like you get books and then you're just like, I'm done. Like, okay, book, I'll sell it because I want the money. This, the contents of the books almost always, if you think laterally about the contents, will almost always be able to apply somehow, if you're creative, to the game itself. You understand what I'm saying? So even though they're just couched in like just fluff, right? You never know what. My point being is you want to pay attention, right? Now, there are 13 of these things. I am not going to go through all of them right now, but I am going to give you the titles. And then what I'll probably do is I'll give you the full details on the Discord off screen and maybe actually put up the full details on the website. Maybe. I'm not really sure, though. That actually might be like a copyright thing. I'm not really sure. Anyways, but we'll get to it. My point being is right now I'm not going to go through all the contents. You have these books. The Lies of the Noble Founders, Arden Vul. You have this one. This is probably the most valuable book with actually the most kind of hilarious name, but it is the most valuable by far. It's called The Value of Mud.
I got a book.
Yep. It's by Herodian the Blessed. There's a folio, an illustrated codex called The 12 Labors of Arden. This is a classic. There's 3 separate copies of the Canticle of Revelation that counts as one book. There is a copy of the Practical Liturgies of Lord Thoth. There's a treatise on the care and keeping of baboons. Ooh. Who knows why? There is a Jeremiad entitled "The Notes on the Followers of the Arch-Traitor Priscus Pulcher, with suggestions for their destruction." Yeah,
definitely gonna have to get these from you on Discord later.
Yeah, I'm falling behind.
Yeah, I'm just reading them out. That's all.
Yeah, there you go. You're good.
There's a rare copy of Summoning from the Beyond. Summoning from Beyond is also one of the very, very extremely valuable books. There is an illuminated 2-volume set of the Tales of Laeral One-Eye.
Ooh.
A worn copy of the Song of Jacinth the Rose. There's a moth-eaten edition of Thoth in all his forms, and a copy of The Sorcerous Properties of Gems. And then, lastly, there is the book that Isocritus had open on his desk that he was pointing out and signing to Geralad about.
Mm-hmm.
And that book is The Deeds of Marius Tricotor. And that's the one that I'm going to talk about quickly.
Ooh. Awesome.
Because that is the one that you guys remember clearly was the one that Isocritus was getting all excited about. This is a codex It's about 10 inches by 8 inches, about 5 inches thick. It weighs about 7 pounds. It is purple, has purple leather binding embossed with a yellow Archon's seal, like the seal of the Archon of Arden Vul on it as well. And it is written by Lucius Cornelius Scriptor, okay, which is clearly indicated as being the personal biographer of the Archon and conqueror Marius Tricotor. Okay, this is it's a extremely famous text. It provides a full account of the character and public career of the great Archontian military archon known as Marius Tricotor. It describes his arrival in Arden Vul as Archon, his careful strategic planning. This is all in Mithric, by the way, so this is only something that Onward would be able to translate. It lauds his common touch, including his decision to live among and in the style of the ordinary legionaries that he commanded. It praises his rejection of every form of gift offered by the great temples, who he considered to be venal and corrupt. It records the laments of his servants at his unwillingness to wear formal court attire. And it notes, and this is where it gets especially interesting to you, it notes his possession of the famed 4 elements of the lost regalia
Ooh.
of the Archon. And at length, it describes his campaigns through the lower halls and his wars against what is commonly referred to in the text, which is a contemporary text, right? At the time, it was written at the time, right? This was his personal biographer who was with him in the halls. Through the lower halls, his warring against what is known as the amphibians. And it's either called the amphibians or the hoppers. That's what they're commonly referred to.
There were the images of those dudes in that one room in the Hall of Heroes.
Not just that, but in the hidden pyramid, it was a hopper-like thing, and we also saw the tunnel that was dug out that appeared to perhaps lead to some hopper domain. Yeah,
Yeah, that room showed people fighting frogs.
Indeed. So separate from the description of the lost regalia, which immediately piques your interest, there are 2 things that he was commonly known to wear that is also described in here. It is the armor and the sword of Marius. The armor is described as being... because it was worn by him, it's considered to be almost holy because of how much reverence it's held. It's, but once again, this is something that is not written like looking backwards in time this is a man who was so great, so beloved that his legend preceded him, at the time. You know what I mean? This is how great this man was, according to Lucius. Anyways, his armor was battered legionary armor, plain, unadorned, just like his men. But it was you could tell, you knew it was his because it had numerous scorch marks across the chest that had worn away.
Dragon fighter.
And his sword was a Roman gladius that was wrapped in red linen, but he always kept it in a simple wooden sheath, unadorned wooden sheath. He's a man of the people. But then it goes on to describe what are the 4 pieces of the regalia of the archons, which he wore with reluctance, but was basically foisted upon him by his men as his rightful due as the Archon of Arden Vul. Now, you have heard these names, but you get actual information about this, and you can tell that there is hurried scribbling in the margins, as you can see Isocritus was like visibly excited to read this stuff, right? And because you talked to Eusebia, that this was what he was looking for, right? So there were the 4 items: the ebon spear, the iron circlet of Gonor, the bone ring of Yagranaz, and what was known only to you at that time as the tablet. However, I'll go over this one first. This one actually has more described about it. It's known as the tablet of the beacon. All right. And there is no indication of where they are now, but there is descriptions of what these things are. Okay. The tablet of the beacon is apparently actually, we'll save that one for the last for reasons.
Okay.
The ebon spear, okay, was once wielded by Arden herself, who is basically a figure out of legend. It has an ebony shaft with a mithril tip, and it was dedicated to the goddess Wadjet, who is the old Arcantian goddess of war. All right, that's the ebon spear. It was handed down from Arden through the lines all the way down to Marius Tricotor. The iron circlet of Gonor is a crown made out of black iron with a huge black opal in the front. It enhances the awe-inspiring presence of the wearer and provides the means to monitor the far-flung corners of the empire through the eyes and ears of its subjects. The bone ring of Yagranaz is large. It actually has to be worn on the thumb. It has numerous phalanges of fingers and toes that are mounted vertically on a silver band all the way around. And it's supposed to, so it's a very kind of gruesome looking thing. It provides numerous protections against all manner of assault. And lastly, there's the Tablet of the Beacon, which is described in kind of almost mysterious tones in the writings by Lucius, as if he himself doesn't quite know what to make out of it. You get the impression that it was about a 12-inch by 9-inch oval, like an oblong oval, of a strange, durable white material with 2 glass panels, buttons, and 2 knobbed small rods extending from the surface.
Rods, you say?
Yes.
It sounds like spaceship tech to me, my friend.
Oh, yeah, I think our Hall of Heroes and spaceship areas will be very valuable with these books.
In addition, you see that what Isocritus was excited about at that moment when he was talking to Garalad was a particular passage, which was describing a Thothian teleportation ring. And let me just check my map here real quick. Sorry.
You want to put that up for us too?
I'm afraid not.
Nice try, Mike.
So
yeah, we'll help you find it.
So there is a passage in the book that reads this. This is the exact quote from it. It says, "Those who wish to find solace in Lady Clementia's asylum and thereby cleanse themselves ere they enter the Imperator's presence, heed well this sequence of colors." Okay, and then there is a sequence that's written. There's not actually in colors, right? It's all written, in ink. Mm-hmm. But it has this sequence. It says BL, GR, BK, WH, RE, YE. All right. And then in the margins, handwritten by Isocritus in a hurried scrawl, it says Tricotor's wife. Find the tiles. Question G's prisoners about location of T-ring. Likely jump right to MT's tomb.
We're going back to Plungertown, y'all.
Man, if only we could ask Isocritus what he meant by all that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would have been.
I think I figured. I mean, the colors are very obvious. Blue, green, black, white, red, and yellow is the sequence of colors. Find the tiles. Question G's prisoners. The teleportation likely goes straight to the tomb. What you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. He says Tricotor's wife. Find the tiles. Question G's prisoners about the location of T-ring. Likely jump right to MT's tomb.
Interesting.
Who's Tricor?
Tricotor. Marius Tricotor.
Oh. Tricotor's wife, right? Well,
in the book, does it say what her name is? Sorry, Mike.
No, you're good.
So yes, it does. Her name was Lady Clementia. Was her name?
Oh, and that was find solace in Lady Clementia's.
Those who wish to find solace in Lady Clementia's asylum and thereby cleanse themselves ere they enter the Imperator's presence, heed well this sequence of colors. So and then in addition. There's all talking about like his campaigns through the halls and all that kind of stuff. There is some just a couple of dates that might be worth noting is that it is currently, and I always forget this, it is the year 2993 right now. Okay, so just keep that in mind. In 1043, what's referred to it's interesting here. You can make the association based upon what you've heard that the term here is something that has fallen out of use but the term here is they call the Varumani. The Varumani in 1043 submit to the Archon. It's noted. Okay. You have a feeling here because they refer to the Varumani as being ruled by by someone that they call the Thane. That this is probably the older name, the older Archontian name, perhaps, for what are now known as trolls. Submit to the Archon. In 1051, so what is that? That's what is that? Math. 8 years later, it says Tricotor defeats the amphibians beyond the bottom of the great chasm, driving them from their fetid ziggurat.
Ew.
That's good to know. There's a ziggurat down there.
Didn't we hear about? Well, maybe not. I'm getting confused with the rumor of the 3 temples on the 3 levels. Okay.
Just a quick aside: we have the blue tile, by the way. I have the blue tile on my person. So
Yeah, we found that. Yeah.
One of the color tiles we own, and that's the blue one. We also know that one teleportation circle lies near the royal, or in the palace, right, where Farger died.
Yep.
And one is in the secret mosaic room in Plungertown. Okay.
We kind of hurried over it because we were going towards the assault for the scouring. When you went into Dalton's entrance, you actually, to get to the spiral stairs that led down to the debouchement, you hopped over another teleportation ring. Yeah.
Oh, right.
I suspect, I mean, I don't know for certain, but if it's sequenced, different sequences of tile presses presumably would take us to different places, and this is the sequence that would take us to his tomb. Is what it sounds like. I don't know if we need a specific circle to do so in, but maybe not. All right, that's awesome, amazing, wow. I have a question, John. If you're done with that description,
yep, that's what you find from that book. Yeah.
This is maybe a bookmark more than an answerable question right now, guys. But we know from Leryl's gear. This is me being real conspiratorial. Let me put the Onweir's favorite tinfoil hat on. That much of its magical properties were hidden behind illusion magic that disguised its quality as being beaten up. And though it may be incidental, John made the point of saying we had both a moth-eaten copy of Thoth in all his forms and a worn copy of the Song of Jocelyn the Rose. They may just be beat-up books, but if any of these books in the library were to contain further information that we might reveal through some sort of illusion, we might want to investigate it.
Well, even if the various forms of Thoth is exactly what it sounds like, it might be clues on how to configure the statue. It's just
Yeah, and all of these, I should say, like I have descriptions for all of these. They're nowhere near as in depth as the Deeds of Marius Tricotor, but all of these should be relayed, and I should definitely let the audience know as well, because it's all interesting stuff. We are unfortunately at time, so we will not be able to get to the really juicy stuff, which is all the sweet spell books and all that kind of stuff. But we'll pick that up next time.
Can't wait.
Yeah, and so David has to do everything in his power to be at the next session, because it's going to be a very Onweir centered episode, because we're going to see Onweir in all of his majestic spell learning glory. Which will be
if I Venmo you $100, can you go ahead and give me another level before then?
Got that 3rd level, don't you? We haven't even seen you cast a 2nd level spell yet, so I'm just excited about that.
I know, for real.
I mean, the plan here is just to hoard the books and never use them, right? Like, Onweir is not going to start casting spells now. I hope you all know that.
You just start building a bookshelf. That's all. Really.
Of course.
Yeah. So we'll pick that up with we'll do a book club next session. It'll be great.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that was super fun, guys. We will pick it up next time. So thank you everyone in the audience for being patient with us. Sorry we had the vacation and we had the technical hiccup, but this is summer and 3D6 down the line. It is what it is. So it's a little bit spotty during the summer, but we're awesome to get back. We're very happy to be back in the saddle again. So don't forget that you've been watching 3D6 down the line. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, spread the word, hit that bell icon. Do what you can to get the word out. We are criminally underwatched, so make it happen out there, folks. And everyone, enjoy your weekend. We will see you next time, everybody. Have a great night. Take care. Bye.
See you guys.
John.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.